5 open shot, the feeling that they were dragging the attack a lot and it was difficult for us to defend, but we were quite proper in the defense. The team was not suffering, and offensively we did the same. We were patient enough to find Jesse in situations where we found advantages. Obviously, he found that proper moment that provides some air, but there were many occasions that were right and we did not score. But we know that the way Jace is, I'm not surprised. I always say that. I'm playing a key moment on the match. Jace's act was key to win. 2 questions. You won on a different record with less points, and it was quite equal because it was not so many points. What does that tell you? In the first stage was long, but winning 7 out of 7 leaves a boot that is difficult for you. Not missing at all on such a complex competition is not easy. Well, each match is different, and I think the strength of a team is to adapt to those situations. We leave today a match that was, they tried to stop our pace a lot for many passes on the attack, a stop, pick and roll, change of side, change of side, and the feeling that we were wearing out on the defense and they were not quite right when they were attacking, so it was some like we were stopping. But then when we had the pace, we were not right all the time. So I think the positive thing is that we were able to get the match, as you were saying, on a totally different match than the one that we used to. Regarding 7-0 from the EuroLeague, I always say the same thing. We're talking about the best teams in Europe, and each match is a war. I think we would also have won Vasconia today. Would someone doubt that Wood would win that match? It's a good team, and they were all competitive, and being 7-0 allow us to look at the future with trust and with confidence, and also with being very much aware that each match is difficult. And I know that Gran Canaria and Olympiacos, who are the next 2 for next week, are going to be truly difficult. Therefore, obviously it's positive and we are happy because we are 7-0, but there are 23 matches ahead and there are a lot of different opponents and we don't know how the season is going to be. This is quite long, but of course I'm happy. Javier Rodriguez, Planet ICB. What have you thought and what did you do when you knew yesterday on the 11th hour that Sved was injured? Because I don't know if you had time to do anything. And I would like to know, because we talked about Carol a lot, but the contribution from Daniel Dijk was also a key part on the match. Thank you. Well, of course, it changes a lot. Because yesterday at 3 p.m. when we know that Svet is not coming, there was even jokes saying, okay, so it seems that everyone knows that Taylor's going to get him. We thought about many occasions where Bestcat was the key one, and that changed us to the point that he played 2 or 3 ways that they didn't play at all. They opened Jordan Mick, who threw 3-pointers, but that's the strength of the 5 players, that you need to adapt to the circumstances, and that's what Khimki is good about. So it's of course a surprise of such an important player for them, or the decisive player for them is not playing. I think the team was able to adapt. And the other question? Davi, yeah. I think it was also the way the match was going. You were talking a lot about the difference between of weight between my centers yesterday, and it was difficult for them to be on the spotlight, but because how do you handle our centers the way if you have a physical inferiority? They just close. Sometimes Tavares had 4 guys under the basket, and you think the attack is bad, and it's not bad. So they were able to counter-attack, and both for Gustavo, Felipe, and Eddie, who on the paper had that advantage. They sold that. If you open box sort of as big and you get from the outside, then they start doubting. But in the 3rd quarter, I believe, we had 4, 5, 6 very clear shots that we did not score, but the team kept on walking. Right now, for me, we lost the second quarter by 1 point. It was a lot worse than the third one, and we lost by 5. And we knew they would try something like that, or they could. Congratulations on the win. I'd like to ask, because you are about finding defects in the wins to keep on improving. On difficult matches like today, that was more difficult than it was last wonderful. What virtues did you find on the team that we miss sometimes? It's not a day to find a lot of virtues. I think we started quite well. And the fact that we started with an advantage and a feeling of being solid, that was good. And afterwards, finding from defensive and a defensive point of view, let's say, if not the pace, because we did not have it because of the way they were playing, trying and finding Carroll, just because of the way he scores, but the advantage of the way he moves. There were some mistakes because we were too fast sometimes, but in general the team was able to adapt to a situation that it was difficult, and many things, mental things, well not playing, their comeback, missing shots, and the team was focused on it. Not every day, all my players will leave today thinking that they could play better, and that's good for me. I'm happy because they think they can play better, and they won 4-3 keeper. Congratulations on the win and good evening. I would like to ask 2 questions. First, I would like to ask about Gaserk match that started quite well, and I would like to know what Fabian contributes with. And the second, how do you face these 2 weeks with 4 matches nearly in a row, and if you're going to take the opportunity of the Endesa League to have the players who play most rest? Well, my players don't surprise me. I know what Fabian can do, and from the defensive point of view, he's quite proper. You need to find players that he can defend best. That's something that obviously is our work as coaches. But usually he's quite good from the defensive point of view, and offensively I think he's a player with a very high IQ, which is very fashionable right now, and he's able to go wide depth on the pick and roll. He can shoot free, and every time he went right in, he found good solutions. He had a good match in general, but we needed a bit more of a scoring from the outer shots, and he missed a couple of them. So I would say that I would tell him to shoot, but in general I think Fabian makes a great job for us. Regarding the other question, that's not the way I see it. I have a 16 players team, and right now I'm thinking how to win and get Pusqua. I know what I have, obviously, but I'm not thinking further to get Pusqua. I'm not thinking about Gran Canaria, Olympiacos and Barcelona. I know, but that is not going to condition me for what I need to prepare on Sunday, because I know that Sunday's match is going to be as difficult, and when we are done on Sunday we will think about Tuesdays. Okay? Thank you.